Now, Israel has banned the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, from operating in Israel and East Jerusalem within 3 months. Despite objections from the international community, Israeli parliament passed the bill with 92 votes in favor and 10 against it. UNRWA chief Philippe Lazzarini condemned the decision, saying it will deepen the suffering of Palestinians. The move brought criticism from several countries, including the United States, Britain and Germany.
They really play an irreplaceable role right now in Gaza, where they're on the front lines getting humanitarian assistance to the people they need it. There's nobody that can replace them right now in the middle of the crisis. So we continue to urge the government of Israel to pause the implementation of this legislation.
In every war zone, every refugee camp, the United Nations is a beacon of hope. And so it's a matter of profound regret that the Israeli parliament is considering shutting down UNRWA's operations. The allegations against UNRWA's staff earlier this week were fully investigated and offer no jurisdiction for cutting off ties with UNRWA.
The U.S. State Department also condemned the lack of aid reaching northern Gaza, stressing that Washington would not accept the situation. This after the Israeli military intensified its operations in northern Gaza. Palestinian health officials said an Israeli strike on a street in central Gaza's Nusrat refugee camp killed 10 people and injured 20 others. While Hamas has released a video showing an attack by the militant group on an Israeli tank in Jabalia. Video captures Hamas fighters preparing for the assault as IDF's Merkava tank gets closer. The attack results in an explosion that destroys the tank. Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades claim that they targeted the tank with Shu'ath explosive device. In other development, Israel said spy agency Mossad's chief returned from talks in Doha with his CIA counterpart and Qatari premier, where they discussed a new framework for a Gaza hostage release deal. According to reports, CIA Director Bill Burns floated a deal for a 28-day Gaza ceasefire, the freeing of around 8 hostages by Hamas and the release of dozens of Palestinian prisoners by Israel. Reports citing 3 Israeli officials claim Burns discussed the idea during a meeting on Sunday with Israeli and Qatari counterparts. Earlier, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi unveiled a proposal for a 2-day truce in the Israel-Hamas war that would include a hostage deal, which he said could pave the way for a full halt to fighting. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden said that Israel's war in Gaza must end. He added that he was renewing efforts for a ceasefire. Furthermore, Prime Minister Netanyahu, during an address at the opening of the Knesset winter legislative session, said Israel severely damaged Iran's defense systems and its ability to export missiles in its airstrikes on Saturday. He said the Israeli military hit hard on industrial factories of death.
I would like to emphasize these were not workshops that we attacked. These are not small explosive laboratories, as you know, from Judea and Samaria or the Gaza Strip. These are industrial death factories on an industrial scale, and we dealt them a real blow.
In Lebanon, Israeli airstrikes hit the southern city after the IDF called for residents in the ancient coastal city to evacuate, while Hezbollah rockets continued to rain down across northern Israel. Lebanon's health ministry said at least 60 people, including 2 children, were killed in Israeli raids on several areas in the eastern Bekaa Valley. And for more on this, our correspondent Jody Cohen is now joining us live from Ra'anana. Jody, thank you so much for joining us. What will be the impact of Israel outlawing? Israeli authorities have said that they have contact with the UNRWA. How do you assess this?
Hi, Hem. So Israel has said that they would work with international partners to ensure that aid can still reach Gaza. Now, in past months, Israel has worked to gradually limit UNRWA's role in aid delivery in favour of the World Food Programme, UNICEF and other agencies. Now, Israel, we know, has been critical of UNRWA for not picking up aid that's crossed into Gaza, with hundreds of aid trucks waiting weeks to be collected. Israel has also been saying for the past year that UNRWA has been infiltrated by Hamas. For example, Israel says that 1/5 of UNRWA's male staff are operatives of Hamas and Islamic Jihad, that hundreds of UNRWA employees, they've got evidence of them celebrating Hamas's 7th of October attack on social media, and some even held hostages in their home. And Israel has also said that Hamas command centres and weapons stores have been found in UNRWA's Gaza headquarters. Now, a State Department spokesperson has said that UNRWA is in need of reform, but warns that the move could impact Israel's ability to comply with US law, which prevents US security assistance to countries that blockade. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu tweeted in response saying that UNRWA workers involved in terrorist activities must be held accountable, but that aid must remain available in Gaza now and in the future.
All right, Jody, that development aside, how likely is it that we will see another hostage release and ceasefire deal in the coming days or weeks?
So I don't see a huge amount of optimism within Israel. I mean, in a recording of Netanyahu speaking with members of his party, he said that Hamas is making demands that Israel can't agree to. And Netanyahu said that he has not received an offer in which Hamas agreed to a 2-day ceasefire in exchange for 4 hostages being freed. He said that if he had received that offer, Israel would have accepted it immediately. Now, US State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller has said that the US is still waiting to see if Hamas is serious about the talks after the killing of Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar, who, remember, the US blamed for the stalling of the talks. He said that the next few weeks will really determine if there's been a change in Hamas's posture. And according to reports, as you said, the CIA chief has now proposed a 28-day ceasefire and the early release from prison of dozens of Palestinian security prisoners in exchange for 8 hostages being freed. But we know, of course, there are 101 hostages still being held captive in Gaza. So it remains to be seen what happens with these talks.
All right, well, Jody, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this.